and I should report now to the committee to consider the amendments which were presented, which were a large amount of amendments showing a real interest of the committee to address this issue. Well, as we all know, we are in such a special context in Europe, dealing with these different crises, that we really need to ensure a stronger recovery and also a more balanced recovery. That's why the European Parliament has a special responsibility to come up with a clear outcome regarding annual growth survey and providing a clear message on how to ensure this stronger and balanced recovery. I think the Parliament should deliver 3 good reports on the annual growth survey, and we know that the most important report is the one which will be adopted by the Econ Committee. We believe that all over this European semester, the European Parliament should strengthen its role. And we are already having clear progress about that, because for the first time, the Parliament could express its concerns in a hearing in plenary here in Brussels before the European Commission adopting the annual growth survey package. So this was a progress. We could get another progress when the President of the Eurogroup came to the plenary to listen to the Parliament concerns. And now we are supposed to deliver this report well in advance the Spring European Council, which will again be important to make the Parliament position more relevant for the final decision making. Now I would just highlight the key points which are being discussed with the shadow rapporteurs and my main concerns also. The first one is about the policy mix, because last year we could define a better policy mix involving investment, reforms and fiscal consolidation. We consider that this policy mix remains the good one and relevant, but we also consider that we should also pay more attention to the role of domestic demand. Because domestic demand is important to create opportunities to invest, to make the best of the single market, but also because the global outlook this year is not very positive, as everybody knows. So we need to compensate this negative global outlook with paying more attention to domestic demand. Of course, in the meantime, European economy should remain a competitive one, and we are also paying a lot of attention to this. Then, regarding investment, we should be clear on the need of a better use of European Investment Plan and FC according to the strategic priorities of this investment plan, which in fact are aligned with the priorities of Europe 2020 strategy. Second, we also need to make sure that the structural funds will be better aligned with these Europe 2020 priorities. But of course, a lot will depend on the way the financial system will work, and that's why we consider very important to complete the banking union and to develop the capital markets union. On reforms, we say that we need to consider a large range of structural reforms, dealing with labour market, pension systems, but also with R&D, innovation systems, public administration, tax collecting systems. And we believe this large range of reforms should be the focus of the upcoming competitiveness boards, which are a new instrument being proposed by the European Commission. When it comes to fiscal consolidation, well, we want to keep our approach based on fiscal responsibility. we recognize that some member states still have very high levels of public debt, so this remains a matter of concern, which means that we need to pursue efforts of fiscal consolidation. But we also believe that another factor to reduce this burden is to foster growth and investment. And that's why we recall the Commission communication on the inbuilt flexibility of the Stability and Growth Pact. This inbuilt flexibility can also be used to address new challenges, notably now the new one coming from the refugees crisis. Then we also make a strong consideration of the situation in euro area, because as we know, this is one of the most innovations of these, most important innovations of this annual growth survey. And we consider that the euro area should be envisaged as an economic entity because of its important global impact, but also because we have strong interdependencies between the member states composing euro area. And we consider that, yes, we do need to assess the aggregate fiscal stance for different purposes. The first one is to assess fiscal policies in euro area to make sure that they comply with the double concern of fiscal responsibility and growth support. Second, because we need to assess the investment gap we have in the euro area, and we need to see how we can close this investment gap by sharing investment efforts between the member states. Then we should also organize a discussion on how can we foster upward economic and social convergence in the euro area. And finally, we need to have a proper discussion on how to reduce macroeconomic imbalances, because they are now smaller, but they are still there, and they are certainly a matter of concern. And about this, we are having a very interesting discussion with the shadow rapporteurs, because in fact there are two different ways to reduce the macroeconomic imbalances. The first way is based basically on asking these so-called deficit countries to reduce their wages and social costs and to pursue the road of internal devaluation, and therefore importing less. But the outcome of this is that this is hindering the general recovery in Europe. Therefore, we should consider another way to reduce macroeconomic imbalances. And this should be based on an effort coming from deficit countries, which needs to be more competitive, and they should also make the necessary reforms and investments to do so. But on the other hand, we need to ask countries with a higher surplus, external surplus, also to give their contribution. And this means for these countries to foster domestic demand by investing and by accepting higher wages aligned with productivity. So we believe this is a very important discussion. We should go in depth in this annual growth survey. And finally, a remark about governance. Because we want, and let me just recall, we adopted this position recently in the European Parliament, we should aim at establishing an interinstitutional agreement on the European semester, strengthen the role of the European Parliament. And this means for the Parliament to have a clear position in the advance of the final decision in the Council or in the European Council. This also means to have a much stronger interaction between the Parliament, the Commission and the Council. So I remain very positive about our discussion. I think we can come up with a relevant, credible report. But of course, there is still a long way to go with the shadow rapporteurs. And again, I think this is very useful to listen to them and to other committee members on all these issues. And that's it. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Rapporteur. Now we have speech time for the shadow rapporteur, starting with the EPP group, Ms. Paunova.
Thank you, Chair. I'm stepping in on behalf of Mr. Ferber. I would like to thank Ms. Rodriguez for the work done so far. And on behalf of the shadow rapporteur, I would address a couple of the key points for the EPP